Kyle Busch continues to lead the NASCAR Nationwide Series race from Texas Motor Speedway. We rejoin you from our ESPN pit studio, watching Kyle with a 2.5-second lead over Carl Edwards. Now Clint Bowyer has moved in to third position. Let's take a look at our Holiday Inn Express race summary while we show you some of those numbers. We talked about Carl and Clint on NASCAR Countdown, Rusty and Brad, and what they had to do today. So far, they're both doing it.
Well, right now, Bowyer's not letting Edwards get away from him. He's haunting him right there. His car's running fast. He's running good right now. Had a solid run so far. And Brad, in my eyes, Bowyer's doing exactly what he's got to do right now. Not let Edwards get away and not make any mistakes.
Yeah, both of these guys are doing exactly what they have to do to give themselves an opportunity. It just happens to be that Clint Bowyer has a better chance just by keeping Carl Edwards in his sight. Carl needs to try to continue to push the pace. If he can get up and win this race, it still looks like Clint's going to be right there waiting on him. So it's going to be tough to get away from Clint Bowyer.
You're a guy that's raced for these championships before, Rusty. How good a feeling for Clint when he made that last pass and saw that 60 car right in front of him?
Oh, that's a great feeling. I mean, the other good feeling for Bowyer was to start this race, Alan, and know, hey, this car's handling good. I got what I need to run up front and maybe win this race. And so it's a real comfortable feel. The bad thing would have been if Edwards just checks out and Bowyer's got an ill-handling car. That's not the case right now, though.
Something to think about. Only one caution in this race so far. Each of the last two Nationwide Series races here in Texas have only had 4 cautions apiece. Doc, we're on another speed run today.
Typical Texas race, guys. Lots of speed. Everything's bigger in Texas here. Big purses, big excitement, and that big leads by the 18 car, like we saw here in April when Kyle Busch led 126 laps en route to his victory. By the way, if he could win this race today, we're talking about the 18 of Kyle Busch, he would tie Sam Ard for the most wins in a single season, the legendary short track driver. And we send along our best wishes and hello to Sam, who is struggling back at home. Sort of stretched out a little bit. Alan mentioned we've only had 1 caution flag for 3 laps. We've had 4 lead changes among 2 drivers. Kevin Harvick has led twice for 23 laps. Kyle Busch has led twice now for 52 laps. And by the way, going to break, I mentioned that Kyle Busch had now led over 4,000 laps for the season. That is combined in laps led in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, the NASCAR Sprint Cup, and the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. He led 87 laps last night here in the truck race and finished second to Ron Hornaday.
I've seen a whole lot of cars from the windshield. He has to look in the mirror to see all the competition. Mike?
Andy, Doc, guys in the booth, you talk about all the amazing stats that Kyle Busch has racked up in 2008, and you got to wonder if it's more than just his driving abilities. In fact, I think it is. In fact, his crew chief, Joe Weidman, told me today that with the suspensions this Joe Gibbs Racing operation has incurred over the last couple of months, Kyle has really stepped up. He's become what they say, quote, a silent crew chief. And if you listen into his radio this afternoon, you could understand why. He's really diagnosing this race car, breaking it down in the corner. He's even suggested to Weidman what they should do the next time down pit road. He wants to be snugged up a little bit. And he's already recommended an air pressure adjustment and a track bar adjustment, all from that seat. So he's more than just a driver, guys.
He's a pretty good driver, though. he gets a lot out of this thing. He knows what he wants, and he's telling the guys how to get there. And when he gets what he wants, it's pretty dangerous.
Yeah, and I think everybody at Joe Gibbs Racing was really pleasantly surprised to find that out about Kyle Busch, as we see the battle heating up for second here between the 2 guys that battling for the points. Also, the Clint Bowyer is running Carl Edwards down. He'll try to make that pass and let Carl know who's in charge of this championship battle.
Yeah, the season is winding down, and we talked to Clint Bowyer about his confidence and about what could happen here these final 3 events.
I think we're, pretty confident. We just can't stub our toe. We can't make mistakes. Can't let our guard down. We got to keep doing the things we're doing. We're back to beating the 60. Over the last couple months, he's beat us, but it really didn't. We didn't push the envelope to beat him. And last couple times we've, stretched our points lead out with Kansas and again at Charlotte. So we just got to keep doing that. As long as we beat the 60, we're going to win this thing.
You can see Clint here trying to see Carl slip just a little bit. Clint really got a nice run there, but Clint's tried to have to take a little bit of a different route around here as Carl Edwards pulls over and lets him go. Now it looks like Carl's still fighting a loose situation on that car. Shannon?
Carl Edwards right now is saying that the car is pretty loose despite that air pressure adjustment. His crew chief just came over the radio and said, don't worry, we've got a long race. He's obviously aware that that was the two that just passed him. Clint Boyer running for the championship. Carl Edwards said this past week that he felt he had the advantage because he was coming from behind. So I guess that's how Clint Boyer felt coming into today's race, huh, guys?
Absolutely, and got to just say, you got to do the best you can and maybe able to hold on. And there is Jack Roush, who is the winningest car owner at this racetrack. Jack has 12 victories here in combined races between the NASCAR Sprint Cup, the NASCAR Truck Series, and obviously here in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. A couple of Wallaces here getting it on. That is Stephen Wallace, the 66, son of Rusty, and that's his uncle Mike, who's trying to move in to take the 17th spot away.
Like Mike's going to get the better of him here.
Not so fast. Here's old Steven roaring back on the high side.
Yeah, Mike's probably thinking you could give your uncle a break right here and just let it go. We don't need to battle side by side. He is able to take that spot away.
The old respect your elders kind of deal. I think Rusty's taught him better than that. Not when it comes to the racetrack. You don't give anybody anything.
No.
Back up front, Kyle Busch, a 9-time winner in 2008. Won here back in the spring in dominant fashion and has now taken his Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota to the front here for the last 60 laps. Could he tie Sam Ard with his 10th winner today? We're still about 120 laps away. Kyle Busch is doing what he did here in the spring, trying to hold on and win the O'Reilly Auto Parts Challenge. Here is the 5 car, Mark Martin, and the 6 car of David Reagan as they battle for 6th position.
Mark's going to win that battle right now. We expected to see him up at the front just a little bit more in this race, but Kyle Busch is just setting a torrid pace.
He's working on it. This 5 team, they looked like they were a little loose the first run. Made an adjustment, obviously, probably on this pit stop that's made the car better. And he's going the right direction now. Mike?
Well, guys, as you know, and every American out there knows, the economy is not the greatest right now, and it's affecting all of us, including these race teams, even the big ones like Junior Motorsports. It was announced earlier this week that because of insufficient funds and lack of sponsorship, they'll only be able to run 1 car full-time next year. That's the 88. The casualty is the 5. Here's some of the quotes from Dale Earnhardt Jr. earlier this week. He said even before they merged the 88 and the 5, they were entirely too big in operation and that they had way too much overhead. And because of that, they felt like they needed to trim some things down. He said even with 1 car, he felt like they lost, on an average, I say, nearly $2 million a year. So that was big, and for obvious reasons, they had to slap down, and they cut 15 employees this week who will no longer be with that organization next year. Jamie?
Yeah, and you talk about Junior Motorsports, Pop Sr., the crew chief on the 88. He's been, of course, with Dale Jr. for a long, long time. And I talked to him this morning, and his head was hung low. And I asked him about the news, and he said, it's been a tough week. I was put in a position this week to let 15 of our employees go. I've never had to do that before. And the thing is, with Junior Motorsports, we finally, with this merger with Hendrick, we finally got to the point that we had all the right people in the right places. So we didn't want to let these guys go, and we had to. And now I'm still struggling with the idea, did I make the right decision? Meanwhile, he's trying to concentrate on winning a race here today, guys.
Jamie, there is a lot of belt tightening going on all across the sport of NASCAR with teams and everybody involved because of having to streamline a little bit with the economy.
I've been there. It's no fun when you're having to shrink your operation and you have to let people go. It's no fun at all, and I can certainly sympathize with Pops on that one.
Yeah, and this sport's no different than a lot of other businesses out there that whenever things are going really well, you know, jobs were abundant and you just continue to grow your business. But times are difficult right now. Dollars are hard to come by, and these guys and these owners and teams are going to have to look at how they can stay in business to get through these difficult times.
Yeah, this sport very dependent on corporate dollars, more so than most other major league sports, because you don't hear of the Office Depot Dodgers, but you do have to have those kind of sponsors on cars to race competitively here in NASCAR. Moving in on the halfway point. We're about 12 laps away from pit stops.